Hey, what is going on guys? RvzStealth here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the new Bruiser Keystone that's coming in patch 8.6. It's called Conqueror, and it looks to be a really good Keystone on a lot of these Bruiser top laners. So in this video, we're going to break down what the Keystone does, why it's going to be really good, and then also which champions it's going to be strong on. And there is still a few days left on the RP giveaway that I'm running right now, so if you'd like to enter into that, then be sure to check it out down in the description below. First, let's take a look at what Conqueror actually does. For those of you guys who don't know, after 4 seconds in combat, and what in combat means is as long as you're attacking minions during the laning phase, then you are in combat. So this is pretty much going to be active all laning phase unless you are getting like completely zoned. That's the only time it would not be active. And your first attack against an enemy champion is going to grant you 10 to 50 AD based on level for 3 seconds, and it's also going to convert 20% of your damage to champions to true damage. So there's quite a few things that we can get out of this information. The first thing is that Conqueror actually does not really have a cooldown. If you are a melee champion, then if you keep continuously damaging the enemy champion, then Conqueror is going to be active for the whole time. It's not going to go on cooldown because damaging enemy champions refreshes this buff, as it says there. I guess technically it does have a 4-second cooldown because when you go in and proc it, it's going to be up for 3 seconds, and then once it does run out, you're gonna have to be in combat for another 4 seconds, and then you can end up proccing it again. So for the Bruiser top laners right now that are running Press the Attack, I'm almost certain that pretty much all of them are gonna switch over to Conqueror. The fact that you need to get 3 auto attacks off during the laning phase to actually make Press the Attack useful just kind of makes it unreliable on a lot of champions that don't really want to be going in for 3 auto attacks in the laning phase. A lot of champions just want to get like 1 or 2 auto attacks off and then back out. So Conqueror is just going to be a lot better for those champions. And then because it does grant you that true damage there, 20% of your damage is converted to true damage, it's just going to be far superior than Press the Attack against tank champions. If you're going up against someone like a Malphite or a Maokai who's just going to stack straight tank items against you and just stack a ton of armor, if you're playing someone like Fiora or Jax or Yasuo, then this Keystone is just going to be really good and it's going to help them shred tanks really nicely. So now if we move on to taking a look at which champions are going to benefit from these changes, I'm going to have all of them up on screen here, but I'm going to talk about a few champions that I think will become a lot stronger than other champions due to the Keystone introduction. So the first champion I think this Keystone is going to benefit a ton in next patch is Darius. Now the reason for it is because as you can see there, it says that for melee champions, damaging enemy champions is going to refresh the buff. And because of Darius's bleed, his bleed lasts for 5 seconds on the opponent. So that means that Conqueror is technically going to be up for 8 seconds. You're going to have a lot of uptime on Conqueror during the laning phase. And there's going to be, if you're in a melee matchup, and you're constantly trading, then you're pretty much always going to have Conqueror active. This should also be a really nice Keystone for Yasuo because as Yasuo in lane, you're almost constantly trying to trade with melee champions, so you're pretty much always going to have Conqueror up. And then also once you do get your crit items, converting 20% of that crit into true damage is just going to make your mid game and your late game super strong, and it's going to make your split push really good against tank champions especially. I feel like this Keystone is just going to be way too strong on Fiora. Fiora already has true damage in her kit, and just giving her more true damage with this Keystone is going to make her pretty much the ultimate tank busting champion. So if tanks are played in next patch, I just feel like Fiora is going to be a very strong pick into them. Now on a few other champions, I'm not 100% sure if they're going to switch over to taking Conqueror. On champions like Urgot, for example, Urgot does really well with Comet in the laning phase, especially in melee matchups, so I'm not too sure if he's going to want to switch over to Conqueror, and I feel like on certain champions like the Urgot, it's probably just going to be more of a situational rune. You'd probably only want to take it if you are up against a tank top laner. Camille's another pick that does very well with Comet, and just using that to poke in the laning phase. So I think for a few of these champions on here, it will depend a lot more on the situation as to which Keystone you're gonna want to run. So heading into patch 8.6 here, I think for top lane, we'll probably see a little bit of a shift in the meta. I feel like tank champions now in the top lane are going to be a lot more vulnerable, especially against champions like Darius, Fiora, and Yasuo. I think those three picks should see quite a rise in 8.6, and they should become pretty top tier top laners for next patch. So that is going to be all for the video though, guys. Let me know what you think of this new Keystone down in the comments below. I think that if you are a top lane main and you're a bruiser main in the top lane, then you should be pretty happy about this new Keystone introduction. With that being said though, guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you've yet to already, and I will see you in my next video.